Alright folks, I'm driving home from work, so of course it's time for some more quality programming provided by me. So we're going to talk about the Russian Collusion fiasco, whatever. I'm sure I got some pretty juicy info here. I'm sure you know a lot of you have heard bits and pieces here and there and stuff, but I know a lot of people haven't heard of some of the deeper specifics of this, which a lot of this information I'm getting from Dan Bongino, that does the Dan Bongino Show, an ex-Secret Service agent that now does a podcast. You can find him on YouTube or elsewhere where most major podcast provider websites or whatever. But, he was at least Secret Service for 6 years, maybe 12. I think he was a cop for 12 years, Secret Service for 6 years. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about Carter Page first. Now, you remember the Carter Page FISA warrant. FISA, I think, stands for, like, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance, or whatever, which is one of the most serious warrants you can get on anyone. It's basically, you can look through their emails, texts, phone calls, and stuff like that. But some people may not know this. In 2013, Carter Page worked with the FBI. He was an informant that testified against. We have court records, court documents. This is public information. He testified against Yevgeny Buryakov. Now, Mr. Buryakov was a Russian spy. Alright, so apply your thinking skills here for 12 seconds, and you'll realize why in the living hell would Russia ever use Carter Page as an asset of any kind when he helped to lock up one of their spies. Seriously, folks, it's ridiculous. Unreal. Unbelievable. But, as well, Carter Page is still a free man. He's done interviews on cable TV without a lawyer. And, one extra little tidbit. Basically, whenever you get a warrant on somebody, like a FISA warrant or other kinds of warrants, like certain warrants for surveillance, there's this thing called the 2-hop rule. And it used to be the 3-hop rule, but here, I'll explain this real quick. It's basically like friends of friends on Facebook. So the 2-hop rule is, obviously, you can surveil the guy, in this instance, Carter Page. Then anyone he contacts or emails, you can dig into their emails and stuff. And anyone that those people contact or email or whatever. So, I believe there was something, Dan Bongino talked about, if there was still the 3-hop rule, that could possibly get up to 2 million or so Americans able to be surveilled and spied on. So this 2-hop rule encompassed, I'll wager that it encompassed the entire Trump team. It was just the FBI. It was the FBI's way to get an in to surveil the entire Trump campaign, pretty much, on a very flimsy, well, not even flimsy, just a completely 180 degrees flawed basis. There's no way on God's green earth that the Russians would ever use Carter Page as an asset. So it's absurd. Anyway, I think that's about it with Carter Page. Sorry, I'll take some pauses here. I like to have a little smoke on my drive home. But, alright, moving on. Let's talk about the Trump Jr. meeting with the Russian lawyer in Trump Tower. Treason and all that shit. But really, he met with a Russian lawyer, Miss Veselnitskaya. Now, both before and after the Trump Tower meeting with Trump Jr., Ms. Veselnitskaya met with Fusion GPS and the head of Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson. Now, if you remember, I think most people do know this, that Fusion GPS was working for was an opposition research firm working for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Oh, how interesting. Interesting how this ties back directly to Hillary Clinton. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I guess that's the gist of that. Oh, yeah, and then, so, yeah, she met before and after the meeting, of course, with Fusion GPS, and when she met after that Trump Jr. meeting, it was within 1 hour. So within 1 hour of meeting with Trump Jr., she went to meet with Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson. So, pretty interesting stuff, huh? Yeah, I get rambling on and my cig goes out. Okay. Now, the Papadopoulos thing, let's talk about this for a minute. So, Papadopoulos, which is kind of a low-level backbencher, he was, trying to climb the ranks of political stuff, but he was kind of a low-level backbencher in the Trump campaign, but he was part of the Trump campaign. He was a foreign advisor or something like that, like a foreign policy advisor. But, so yeah, Papadopoulos met in a London bar with Alexander Downer. And that's the whole thing. Papadopoulos said, I think the Russians have some dirt on Hillary. They might have her emails or something. Which is not really... I mean, everyone in the world knew that at that point, pretty much. Or had thought that, at least. Because, Hillary Clinton's emails leaked out because she had it in an unsecure server in her home, but whatever. He meets with Alexander Downer, and another coincidence here, Alexander Downer was an Australian foreign minister, and Downer was instrumental in the Clinton Foundation receiving $25 million in taxpayer money from the Australian government. Oh, man, that's crazy. Yeah, another connection to Clinton. What a friggin' coincidence, hey. Yeah, and also, Downer was involved in the sale of Australian uranium to Russia. Yeah. So yeah, he was involved in the sale of Australian uranium to Russia, because Russia has I think a Uranium 1 branch in Australia. It was I think Uranium 1 was bought by Rosatom like several years ago, perhaps even as early as the 90s, but at least by 2012. Rosatom is a Russian government-run uranium company. So, interesting stuff. Russian collusion. Who's really colluding with Russia here, The dossier that Hillary Clinton paid for, she basically, not legally technically laundered, but she, in a sense, laundered the money through a law firm, Perkins Coie, to pay Fusion GPS to do this opposition research, which hired Christopher Steele to get Russian misinformation. So she basically got information from the Russians to affect the outcome of the election, to get like negative dirt, basically smears and propaganda from the Russians. So there's a little bit of Russian collusion there, actual Russian collusion, but whatever. Alright, let's see here. I don't know. You know what? Let's make this a short one. I'll call it there, because there's so much information. I got like at least 30 pages of crap written down on this. There's a little bit of juicy stuff for you guys. I don't know, I might just make another video in the next couple days, going into more detail, talking about Victor Pinchuk, and the Skolkovo project, which Viktor Pinchuk is a Russian oligarch, which actually also donated $25 million to the Clinton Foundation. It's kind of a coincidence that the, Alexander Downer, $25 million, Clinton Foundation too, but whatever. Yeah, it was about $25 million from Viktor Pinchuk, Russian oligarch. But I'll get into that more, and the details of, basically, so you guys can understand what the Skolkovo project was and stuff like that, but I don't need to ramble on about that, because I'll just do another video. So, I don't know, anyway, thanks, appreciate you guys tuning in. I don't know if you like this content, go ahead and, I'd really appreciate if you click the like button, easy, one little click, and if you want, you can subscribe, so that way you can get more of this stuff. I've been researching crap for at least 2-3 years online about all kinds of stuff, like history, the war history and politics, philosophy, economics and stuff, but, so yeah, I try to, I take a little time to write some notes out and bullet points and stuff to try to make these videos really concise, so I'm not, repeating myself and rambling, and I like it to be nice and neat for you guys to get some good quality info if you enjoy this kind of stuff, but, alright, well, thanks for, I appreciate you guys tuning in, you guys take care, I'll catch you pretty soon here.